Imagine yourself within the towering walls of a Stoic citadel, your mental well-being protected by firm boundaries and ancient discipline. Within these walls, you cultivate peace, reflection, and clarity. But even the strongest fortresses are not impenetrable. No wall, no matter how tall, can fully guard against the creeping influence of external toxicity. Like persistent intruders at the gates, toxic individuals will always try to find a way in. Chapter 1. Limit your exposure. Here is where a core Stoic teaching becomes your armor. Control what is within your power. You cannot control the actions or words of others, but you can control how much access they have to you. The first line of defense is simple, though often overlooked. Limit your exposure. Reduce the amount of time you spend with those who drain your energy. When possible, create physical distance. Could that meeting be rescheduled? Could you excuse yourself from a conversation laced with pessimism? This isn't about being rude. It's about survival. Just as a wise general avoids unnecessary conflict, you too must avoid the battles that serve no purpose. Still, physical avoidance isn't always possible. Sometimes, toxicity lives closer than we'd like in a colleague, a friend, even a family member. In these moments, emotional distance becomes your second shield. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that happiness and freedom begin with understanding what we can and cannot control. When we truly accept that we are not responsible for the moods, actions, or drama of others, we release ourselves from their grip. Observe toxic behavior without absorbing it. Detach. Watch their conduct not with emotion, but with calm analysis. Like a seasoned observer watching a storm, remain still at your center. Another weapon in your arsenal is cognitive reframing. When toxic individuals try to ensnare you with complaints or manipulation, step back. If a coworker constantly complains, you might internally reframe their outburst as they must be having a difficult day, instead of allowing their negativity to infect your mood. This simple shift in perception can protect your inner balance. Toxic people thrive on chaos. Don't let them feed on your peace. Instead, direct your energy toward the things that nourish you: meaningful work, fulfilling hobbies, loyal friendships. Let those become your emotional refuge. Let them be your inner sanctuary. There is no cowardice in stepping back. On the contrary, it is an act of strategic discipline. To the Stoics, inner peace was not a luxury, it was a duty. By limiting your exposure to harmful influences, you create space to nurture virtue, wisdom, and strength. Picture your citadel surrounded by a wide moat, not just a physical defense, but an emotional one. It does not isolate you, it preserves you. Let that moat be filled with discernment, boundaries, and self-respect. And let those on the outside remain exactly where they belong. Chapter 2. Build your support system. Picture yourself standing as the lone sentinel at the gates of your inner citadel. You've fortified the walls with discipline. You've mastered the art of non-reaction. You've limited the access of toxic intruders. Yet, even the most valiant warrior cannot defend the fortress alone. In every enduring army, there is a phalanx, tight, unbreakable unit formed by trusted allies. Your support system is your Stoic phalanx. Seneca, one of the great Stoics, believed that living in harmony with nature meant also living in harmony with others. You are not meant to fight life's battles alone. Just as a warrior draws strength from his shield bearers, you draw strength from those who uplift your spirit and reflect your values. When facing emotional warfare brought on by toxic people, a reliable support system becomes not a luxury, but a necessity. You need companions who listen without judgment, who offer counsel born from virtue, and who remind you of your worth when others seek to diminish it. This isn't merely about comfort, it's about survival. Toxicity drains, virtue restores. While a toxic person may strip you of self-worth, your allies replenish it. They remind you who you are and who you are becoming. They are the steady voice in the storm, echoing your resilience back to you when you've forgotten it. Yourself. Think of them as lanterns lining the path back to your center, especially when the fog of manipulation and negativity threatens to blur your way forward. But here lies the first fall. Many of us neglect our support systems until crisis strikes. We underestimate their importance, thinking strength lies in solitude. But the Stoics never preached isolation. They advocated for connection with the virtuous. So you must ask yourself, have I cultivated my phalanx? Or am I standing alone when I don't need to? Building your support system takes time and discernment. It requires intentional relationships, not just proximity. It means choosing allies based on shared values, not shared distractions. Asterisk, how do you build it? Invest in quality time. Share meals, meaningful conversations, and quiet moments with those who energize your spirit. Join aligned communities, whether through local groups, volunteering, or online forums. Find people who share your principles and pursuits. Express gratitude. Let your allies know their presence matters. Appreciation is the lifeblood of enduring bonds. The Stoics taught by example, and so must you. Surround yourself with those who exemplify the virtues you aspire to: patience, courage, humility, wisdom. In their presence, you are not only supported, you are shaped. Your phalanx does more than shield you. It models strength. You learn from how they handle adversity. You rise because you walk beside those who have already conquered similar storms. Never forget, even the most well-guarded fortress needs external defenses. Your support system is not a sign of weakness, but a symbol of wisdom. It is your front line against the toxic forces that seek to undermine your peace. So cultivate your phalanx. Protect it. Honor it. Because in the moments when your walls shake and your inner voice falters, it will be their presence, the unwavering, the virtuous, that reminds you of the warrior you truly are. If you're finding value in these Stoic insights, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Strengthening your mind starts with commitment. Stay with us as we continue this journey. Chapter 3. Prioritize self-imaging, a battlefield littered with debris from emotional warfare. The dust hasn't yet settled, but your armor is cracked, your breath is short, and the weight of every toxic word you've endured clings to your shoulders like chains. Now ask yourself, how long can a warrior fight without tending to his wounds? Engaging with toxic people is not unlike enduring a siege. It wears on your soul, depletes your mental reserves, and leaves you vulnerable. That is why self-care is not an indulgence, it is a Stoic necessity. The Stoics were not cold statues of logic. They were warriors of the inner life, men who understood the need to retreat, to heal, to recalibrate. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote his meditations not to command empires, but to restore his own inner balance. If the Emperor of Rome needed time for reflection, so do you. Here lies the first emotional fall. Modern life tells us to push forward endlessly, hustle, endure, ignore the pain. But a dull sword cannot cut through chaos, and a tired mind cannot distinguish reason from emotion. If you do not pause to recover, you become the very thing you seek to resist: reactive, ungrounded, consumed by the world instead of centered within it. So you must prioritize self-care as a strategic ritual, as essential as sharpening a blade before battle. And not just in moments of crisis, but daily, intentionally. Begin with what restores your spirit: physical movement. Whether a quiet walk, a morning run, or a Stoic posture held in stillness, the body must be engaged to free the mind. Creative expression. Write, paint, build. Channel your inner tension into something that lives outside you. Creation is a sacred form of renewal. Meditation. The Stoics practiced a form of deep reflection, Close your eyes, breathe, and withdraw from the noise. In that silence, you will remember what truly matters. When you engage in these practices, you don't just relax, you return to yourself. And this return is vital, because in a world of distractions and poisonous energy, the most radical act is to anchor yourself in peace. The natural world also offers refuge. Seneca believed that nature was the greatest teacher. Take time to walk through forests, along rivers, beneath open skies. These spaces are not just scenery, they are medicine. They remind you that life is more than arguments, criticisms, and emotional pollution. They remind you that you are part of something vast and still and enduring. But here comes the second fall, the guilt. So many feel shame for stepping away, for resting, for saying no. But hear this clearly. Self-care is not selfishness, it is self-preservation. A burnt-out Stoic is not virtuous. He is brittle, anxious, prone to failure. The resilient Stoic, the one who lives with grace and steadiness, is the one who protects his energy as fiercely as he guards his values. So listen to your body. Feel the tension in your shoulders. Notice the fatigue in your chest. These are messages from within. Heed them. Honor them. Don't wait for collapse before you act. Build your life around small, sacred routines that keep your mind sharp, your emotions grounded, and your spirit intact. Eat nourishing food. Sleep deeply. Say no when you need to. Set boundaries not just with others, but with time itself. In the end, self-care is not about luxury. It's about sustainability. It's how you ensure that your inner citadel doesn't crumble from within. Because only when you are whole, only when your armor is mended and your mind is still, can you stand again as the Stoic warrior the world needs you to be. Chapter 4. Remember, it's not about you. Picture a heavy storm cloud drifting low over your citadel. It casts a dark shadow, but the cloud is not yours. It merely passes overhead. Yet many of us, when faced with the dark energy of toxic people, forget this truth. We absorb their storm. We carry their weight. We begin to believe that their darkness is somehow our fault. But what if it was never about you? Here lies the first emotional descent: internalization. A harsh word becomes a wound. A cold glance becomes rejection. A constant barrage of negativity leads you to question your worth. And before long, you begin to think, what did I do wrong? The Stoics offer us a path out of this trap through the powerful concept of prohairesis. This is the idea that, while we cannot control what others do, we can control how we interpret and respond to their actions. We are not hostages to their moods. We are observers, not victims. Imagine standing outside the storm instead of inside it. From this distance, you can finally see toxic people project their own inner chaos onto others. Their cruelty, blame, manipulation, it reflects their internal conflict, not your shortcomings. You are simply the surface onto which they cast their shadows. So the Stoic response is this: detach with clarity. Do not mirror their anger. Do not accept their shame. Instead, examine their behavior like a philosopher examines a phenomena, not with emotion, but with reason. Ask, what wound are they hiding? What fear are they projecting? This transforms you from a target into a calm, centered observer. Here, Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is your second fall. Taking it personally keeps you imprisoned. Every time you dwell on their words, replay their behavior, or stew in their poison, you extend the life of the storm. You become the jailer of your own mind. But when you remember that their behavior is not a mirror of your soul, but a reflection of their own torment, you break the cycle. Think of the sun above the clouds. Just because the sky is gray does not mean the sun has vanished. The same applies to you. Your value, your light, your virtue, none of it is erased by someone else's darkness. The storm may block your view, but it cannot touch the sun. This realization doesn't mean you grow cold or indifferent. On the contrary, Stoic detachment makes space for compassion. You can care about someone's suffering without carrying it. You can understand their pain without becoming its casualty. And when you no longer absorb their poison, you are free to choose your response, deliberate, measured, and virtuous. In the end, remember, when you walk through the fire of someone else's toxicity, don't make it your own. Let them keep their storm. Let them rage alone. Your duty is not to fix them. Your duty is not to absorb them. Your duty is to remain whole. Chapter 5. Don't try to fix them. There is a noble urge that lives deep in many of us, the desire to mend, to heal, to help others become whole. And when the person before you is drowning in their own toxicity, this urge awakens. Maybe if I show them kindness, maybe if I explain, guide, convince. But here lies your first fall, believing that you can fix them. To the Stoics, this is not compassion, it is illusion. Stoicism teaches us to direct our energy toward we can control, and the inner transformation of another human being is not within your reach. Picture this: a garden choked with weeds. You want the flowers to bloom, but the soil isn't yours. You reach in, pulling at the roots, exhausting yourself, and still the weeds return. Why? Because the garden has not asked to be tended, and you were never the gardener in the first place. Toxic people, like that overgrown soil, cannot be transformed by external force. Change, real, enduring change, must come from within. Your lectures, your empathy, your sacrifices, they may be well-intentioned, but they cannot replace another person's will. Seneca warned against wasting time on what does not serve the pursuit of virtue, and trying to fix someone who is not ready, willing, or capable of growth will only leave you depleted. Their wounds are not your burden. Their path is not your responsibility. This is where the second descent occurs. You lose yourself in them. You begin to bend your values, overlook your own needs, and justify unacceptable behavior. They're struggling. They don't mean it. They just need help. But while you are busy trying to rescue them, you may not notice. You're slowly sinking too. Here's the Stoic alternative. Accept what you cannot change and lead by example. Let your discipline, your calm, your clarity become a silent lesson. You don't need to argue. You don't need to save them. Sometimes the most powerful guidance is simply being a living embodiment of what peace looks like. And if you feel compelled to offer support, do it with boundaries. Suggest a book. Recommend a therapist. Speak once, clearly, and then let go. If change is possible, they must pursue it on their own terms, not yours. Because in the end, the greatest influence you can have is not through control, but through presence. Marcus Aurelius put it simply: waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Let them see your example, not your exhaustion. Let them witness your strength, not your sacrifice. And if the toxicity persists, if they continue to drain, manipulate, or harm, you must withdraw. Not in anger, but in wisdom. Not to punish, but to preserve. You are not their savior. You are not their cure. You are your own guardian. If these strategies are helping you navigate negativity, make sure to subscribe and activate notifications. Your inner peace deserves consistent care. Let's keep building it together. Chapter 6. When to walk away. There comes a moment, quiet but unmistakable, when a line is crossed, not with shouts, not with blows, but with erosion. A slow wearing down of your peace, your clarity, your soul. You tell yourself it's not that bad. You tell yourself they'll change. But deep down, you already know. The time has come to walk away. And here lies the first descent, the inner resistance. Because walking away feels like failure. It feels like weakness. You wonder, am I giving up too soon? Should I have stayed longer? Tried harder? But the Stoics remind us, true wisdom is knowing when to withdraw. Cato chose death over dishonor. Epictetus walked away from slavery, not just the physical kind, but the slavery of mind and obligation. And you too are called to walk not in anger, not in bitterness, but in sovereignty, not to stay in a toxic relationship, be it romantic, familial, or social, is to betray the self under the illusion of virtue. Endurance is a Stoic trait, yes, but blind endurance without discernment becomes self-destruction. Let's be clear. Walking away is not cowardice. It is clarity in motion. It is the moment when you stop trying to carry what was never yours to bear. It is the quiet, unwavering step back into your own alignment. The Stoics viewed life as a stage. You play your part with honor, but when the role becomes poison, you exit with grace. Here lies the second fall. Fear. Fear of loneliness. Fear of judgment. Fear that you won't find something better. These fears whisper to you in the silence after separation. But you must ask yourself, is the pain of solitude truly greater than the pain of staying chained to someone who drains your soul? Walking away is a sacred act of self-respect. It says, I no longer abandon myself for the comfort of another. It reclaims your time, your space, your energy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. It is not your job to judge them. It is your job to protect your own peace. Sometimes the most Stoic act is not to endure the storm, but to leave the battlefield altogether. And when you do not look back in resentment. Look back with gratitude for the lesson, for the mirror they held up, for the strength you discovered. Then turn forward. Walk forward. Live forward. Because every step away from what harms you is a step toward who you were meant to become. Chapter 7. Lead with boundaries, not emotion in battle. A warrior does not shout in panic nor flail with rage. He draws his line with quiet resolve and stands firm. The same is true in life, especially when confronting toxic souls. Too often, we respond to pain with pain. We lash out, we defend, we explain. We let emotion guide the blade. But emotion, unchecked, becomes a weapon turned inward. This is your first descent. Reactivity. When you let toxic people provoke your anger, your sadness, your anxiety, they win twice. First, by wounding you. Second, by controlling your response. The Stoic alternative is not apathy, it's command. And command begins with boundaries. Boundaries are not walls built from fear. They are gates built from reason. They say, you may go this far, no further. Not with cruelty, not with coldness, but with unshakable clarity. Picture a castle moat. It does not hate the intruder. It simply exists to protect the integrity of what lies within. The toxic will resist. They may guilt you, mock you, try to twist your logic, or accuse you of abandonment. But remember Marcus Aurelius's words, if anyone can refute me, show me. I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after. This is your second fall. Abandoning your truth to please those who refuse to hear it. You begin to negotiate with disrespect. You make excuses for mistreatment. You soften your no into a maybe, thinking you're being kind. But every time you betray your boundary, you reinforce theirs. And they will not stop. So you must lead not with tears, not with fury, but with presence. Speak once, speak simply. This is not acceptable. I do not allow that in my life. No defense, no debate, just the serene enforcement of self-respect. Seneca taught that true peace is not found in the silence of others, but in the strength of oneself. And boundaries are a form of that strength. They are declarations of value, not to the world, but to your own soul. Let them say you've changed. Let them say you're distant. Let them say you're too cold now. It is not your job to manage their discomfort with your growth. It is your job to live in alignment with your virtue. And in time, they may rage less, not because they've changed, but because they finally understand you will not dot, so draw your lines, not in sand, but in stone. And when they come to test them, do not meet them with fire. Meet them with stillness, with silence, with sovereignty. Chapter 8. Their chaos is not yours to hold. Imagine a raging storm far beyond your fortress walls. Thunder roars, lightning strikes, and the earth trembles. Yet inside your stronghold, all remains calm and untouched. This is the distinction you must grasp when dealing with toxic people. Their chaos is not yours to bear. Here lies the first fall, taking on their turmoil as your own burden. When someone spreads negativity, blames, or anger, it can feel as though the storm has breached your walls. You absorb their emotional tempests, tossing and turning in restless nights, doubting yourself, questioning your worth. But the Stoics teach us that our power lies precisely in drawing the line between their inner chaos and our own peace. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You cannot control their emotions, their past, or their choices. Nor should you attempt to carry their weight like a packhorse crossing treacherous terrain. Doing so only drains your strength and weakens your defenses. The second fall is subtle yet destructive, feeling responsible for fixing their storm. You may believe that if you try harder, listen more, forgive endlessly, or sacrifice yourself, the tempest will quiet. But no amount of effort on your part can calm what lives inside another's mind and heart. Instead, practice the art of Stoic separation. View their turmoil as a distant thunder heard, but not felt. Recognize that their darkness belongs to them alone. You are not the keeper of their pain, nor the solver of their problems. Imagine your mind as a tranquil lake. Reflections ripple only when disturbed by your own actions, not by the winds beyond your reach. Protect this stillness by choosing what you let inside. Remember Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. By keeping your emotional borders intact, you conserve your clarity and strength. You become a beacon of calm in a world of chaos, unaffected by storms that rage beyond your walls. To thrive among toxic people, remind yourself daily, their chaos is not yours to hold. Guard your sanctuary fiercely, but with compassion and reason. Let them live in their tempest while you cultivate your peace. Chapter 9. Build your support system, man. Imagine yourself standing at the gate of your fortress. Your walls are strong, your moat deep, and your boundaries clear. Yet even the mightiest fortress requires allies, a loyal phalanx to stand shoulder to shoulder when the battle intensifies. This is the essence of your support system. Here lies the first fall, facing toxicity alone. Isolation makes the fight against negativity overwhelming. Without trusted companions, the weight of toxic words and actions bears down until your spirit cracks. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca wrote of the power of fellowship in enduring hardship. Your support system is your Stoic phalanx, a network of virtuous, trustworthy allies who share your values and strengthen your resolve. They are your refuge, your sounding board, your encouragement in moments of doubt. When you confide in them, you create a safe space to unburden your struggles without judgment. Their understanding is a balm to wounds inflicted by toxic individuals. They remind you of your worth and reflect back your inner strength when you falter. The second fall is subtle, neglecting to cultivate these vital relationships. Too often, we focus so intently on fending off toxicity that we forget to nurture those who uplift us. Stoicism teaches that virtue flourishes in community. Surrounding yourself with those who embody integrity, resilience, and kindness elevates your own capacity to endure. Build this network by investing quality time in meaningful interactions. Seek out communities aligned with your principles, clubs, volunteer groups, or online circles that foster growth and support. Remember to express gratitude to those who stand by you. Appreciation deepens bonds and nurtures loyalty, Seneca reminds. You associate with those who will make a better man of you. Through a steadfast support system, you forge a powerful shield, not merely against toxicity, but for your flourishing. You gain strength, perspective, and renewed optimism. Even the most impenetrable fortress benefits from a vigilant phalanx guarding its walls. If you're committed to protecting your peace, subscribe now and ring the bell. Self-care is the foundation of Stoic strength. Let's cultivate it every day. Chapter 10. Prioritize self-corine, the aftermath of battle. A warrior does not ignore his wounds or neglect his armor. He tends to both with deliberate care, knowing his survival depends on strength renewed. Likewise, in the ongoing fight against toxicity, self-care is your most vital strategy. The first fall is exhaustion, silent and creeping. Each encounter with negativity chips away at your emotional reserves. You may feel drained, overwhelmed, or numb. Without replenishment, resilience fades and your defenses crumble. Stoicism teaches that tending to one's inner fortress is not indulgence, but necessity. Marcus Aurelius counseled, "Take care to leave your own mind in good condition." Self-care is an active stewardship, an investment in your mental and emotional well-being that fuels endurance. It is not a luxury but a duty to oneself. How then? To practice it? Engage in activities that restore your joy and balance. Whether through movement, running, yoga, or martial practice or creative expression like writing and painting, find your sanctuary in action. Meditation, akin to the Stoic practice of daily reflection, calms the mind and cultivates inner peace. Nature, revered by the Stoics as a teacher, offers healing through its steady rhythms and vast horizons. A walk in the woods or quiet moments beneath the sky reconnect you to the enduring order. Beyond human chaos. Listen closely to your body's signals. Fatigue, tension, restlessness. These are warnings, not obstacles to ignore. Healthy eating, sufficient rest, and purposeful breaks form the foundation of your emotional resilience. The second descent is guilt, the feeling that time spent on yourself is selfish or unproductive. Reject this falsehood. Prioritizing your well-being is the precondition for strength in all other endeavors. Without a fortified self, your ability to confront toxicity wanes. Set boundaries around your self-care, as you do around toxic influence. Protect this time fiercely. Guard it as the sacred space where your spirit is renewed. Remember, a warrior with a dull blade and tattered shield is no match for the battle ahead. But one who sharpens his tools and tends his wounds carries the fire of resilience and the clarity of purpose. Chapter 11. Remember, it's not about you. Imagine a dark cloud hanging over your head, spilling endless rain and shadow. This is the atmosphere. Toxic people bring a tempest of their own fears, insecurities, and wounds. But remember this crucial truth: their storm is not about you. Here lies the first descent, taking their negativity personally. When they lash out, blame, or spread misery, it's easy to feel attacked, diminished, or responsible. Yet Stoicism teaches us to view such moments as projections of their inner turmoil, not reflections of your worth. The Stoic concept of proipa invites you to stand outside the emotional hurricane as a calm observer. You detach without apathy, Analyze without judgment. By doing so, you reclaim your center and refuse to be swept away by their storm. The second fall is reactive entanglement. You respond with hurt, anger, or defensiveness, feeding the cycle of toxicity. Instead, you must remember Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Their words are the echoes of their own battles, not your character. Recognize this, and you sever their power to disrupt your peace. Compassion can coexist with detachment. You may acknowledge their suffering without absorbing it. Like a healer who cares yet keeps boundaries, you protect your own sanctuary. In this practice lies freedom. The freedom to move forward, unburdened by the shadows cast by others. The sun still shines beyond the clouds, and you hold the power to turn your gaze toward it. Chapter 12. When to walk away. Picture yourself standing within the walls of your Stoic sanctuary, your fortress strengthened by boundaries, your inner garden flourishing. Yet despite your efforts, a toxic presence lingers, relentlessly battering your peace like an unyielding siege. This is the moment of profound reckoning, the moment when the Stoic wisdom of discernment guides you to walk away. The first fall is the hesitation, the internal struggle against leaving. Perhaps it is a family member, a colleague, or a friend. The ties of loyalty and history weigh heavily. Fear whispers. If you leave, you admit defeat. You abandon them. You are alone. Yet the Stoics teach that true strength lies not in clinging to what harms us, but in choosing what nourishes our soul. Seneca reminds us, life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested. Staying in a toxic relationship is squandering precious time. It can be redirected toward growth, virtue, and tranquility. The second fall is the misconception that walking away equals giving up. In truth, it is a deliberate, courageous act of self-preservation. It is not an escape, but a wise withdrawal, reclaiming of your path. Walking away does not mean erasing the person from your life with bitterness or anger. It means releasing the destructive dynamic and making space for peace. This departure may be gradual, setting firmer boundaries, reducing contact, or politely declining invitations. Or it may be decisive and unequivocal break. Remember, you cannot control others, only your response. When toxicity persists despite your best efforts, the most virtuous choice is to protect your inner sanctuary by stepping away. Your Stoic refuge remains intact, ready to welcome you in with calm and clarity as you turn your gaze toward a future forged in reason, strength, and virtue. Chapter 13. Forgive yourself. Imagine embarking on a long journey, carrying a heavy sack weighed down by anger and resentment toward a toxic individual. With every step, the burden slows you, sapping your strength and clouding your vision. This is the trap of holding on to grudges, prison of your own making. The Stoics teach us that forgiveness is not a favor to others, but a liberation for oneself. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. To forgive is to reclaim control over your inner landscape, to cast off the chains of bitterness that poison your peace. Here lies the first descent, clinging to resentment as a form of justice. You may believe holding on to anger punishes the offender, yet all it truly does is imprison you in suffering and shadow. The second fall is neglecting self-compassion. Stoicism calls for kindness inward as well as outward. To forgive yourself is to acknowledge your humanity, to accept mistakes and release self-blame. Begin this process by recognizing your feelings honestly: anger, hurt, disappointment. Name them without judgment. Then shift your perspective. Was a toxic person truly malicious, or were their actions driven by pain you cannot see? Empathy, even limited, softens the heart. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a lighter burden to carry, a clearer path ahead. Visualize yourself sitting down the sack, feeling the load lift from your shoulders. Your heart, unshackled, beats with renewed strength and peace, not by embracing forgiveness. You transform from a passive victim into a resilient warrior of your inner tranquility, ready to face the future unburdened and unafraid. As you walk away from toxicity and embrace these Stoic strategies, remember, true strength lies not in enduring endless battle, but in mastering your inner fortress. Protect your peace with wisdom, stand firm with courage, and nurture your spirit with virtue. Your journey toward resilience and tranquility begins now. If this message resonates with you, subscribe to Stoic Alchemist and ring the bell to awaken your inner strength. Share your thoughts below. How will you forge your path away from toxicity? Together, let us build a life of calm power and lasting freedom.